Welcome to an episode of Lottery in Nigeria. My name is Aro John Obizoba. So on this particular episode, we'll be discussing something very interesting. We'll be discussing whether law enforcement agencies in Nigeria have the power to actually break into the homes of Nigerians or break in the homes of people in the name of, enforcing arrest or search or any particular so-called responsibility of theirs. Now, it happened that this morning a lot of us woke up to the tweet from Skales, S to the K, at Young Skales, that's his official handle on Twitter, tweeted this morning calling out the EFCC. Now, according to him, he was sleeping when men of the EFCC broke in from the back door, broke the back door, and came into his house. About three of the officers wielding guns, while some were wielding sticks and some other things. Now, according to him, he said he inquired. According to his tweet, yes, the tweet is coming on your screen now. According to his tweet, he said he inquired from them, and they said yes, they had gotten intel that was into fraud. And now the question I want to ask, the question all of us are asking is, does law enforcement agencies in Nigeria have the power to actually break into the house of citizens, into the house of people in the name of enforcing, especially when there has not been any prompt or when there have not been any prior notification? Now, by virtue of the existing laws in Nigeria, or by virtue of our legal system, we have laws classified into various forms, various categories. We have the substantive law, we have the procedural law. Now, the various law enforcement agencies we know about, we're talking about the police, the EFCC, ICPC, NDLEA, all these various agencies and bodies or forces are established pursuant to certain statutory enactments. For example, we have the Police Act, we have the EFCC Establishment Act, we have the ICPC Establishment Act. Most of these agencies have their Establishment Act. And by virtue of the provision of this Establishment Act, they are conferred with powers, responsibilities, duties. Now, flowing from the various provisions of the Establishment Act, you discover that there are certain responsibilities imposed on this law enforcement agency, which amongst other things include protection of life and property, the investigation, prevention of crime, and all that as is necessary. Now, the question is, yes, these laws have provided these powers. Are these powers just absolute? Can you just execute them anyways? No. This is now where the procedural laws come in. Now, in Lagos State particularly, we have the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Lagos State. In most other states of Nigeria, we also have the Administration of Criminal Justice Laws of those respective states. In Abuja, we have the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which guides the affairs, the administration of criminal justice in Abuja, all that in federal courts and the rest of that. Now, this ACJL, or in some places where they don't have the ACJL, they still have the criminal procedural law of that particular state. These laws actually stipulate the various procedures, method, manner, the pathways in which actions must be carried out in the administration of criminal justice. Now, with regard to law enforcement, the ACJL, now let me focus on Lagos because now we're talking about Lagos. Now, in Lagos, we have the ACJL, which makes provisions for the manner in which arrests will be done and in which searches will be done. Now, by virtue of Part 1 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law, it provides for arrest appropriately, ordinarily. For an arrest to be conducted, there has to be an arrest warrant, but there are exceptions. Generally, for you to arrest a person, there must be an arrest warrant specifying the person and the suspected offense upon which the person is to be arrested on. But now we have exceptions. There are exceptions when a person can be arrested without warrant. If we check Part 1 of the Administration of Criminal Justice of Lagos State, which have Section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will see the provisions on arrest. Now, the arrest warrant will stipulate the particular offense for which the person is supposed to be arrested on, the name of the particular suspect. Now, at that point, the person is a suspect. Now, the arrest warrant will now, it's the authority, yes, allowing and authorizing the police officer to conduct the arrest. But like I said, there are certain instances where the person may be arrested without warrants. Now, you have the case where maybe he commits a crime in the presence of a law enforcement officer, he can be arrested without warrant, where there's a reasonable suspicion on the part of the police officer or law enforcement officer that, yes, this person has committed a crime, he can be arrested without warrant, where a person is deserting from the military, yes, where a person is suspected of being in possession of house-breaking equipment. There are certain exceptions to that. So generally, for an arrest to be effected, there has to be an arrest warrant. Except if it falls in the instances of exceptions under the laws, or any other law apart from the Administration of Criminal Justice law, any other laws that provide exception when it can be arrested without warrant. Like I said, when you commit a crime, if a person commits a crime present of a law enforcement agency, or where there's reasonable suspicion, or where it's in possession of stolen property or stolen item, there are other exceptions. Yes, the person can be arrested without warrant. Now, appropriately, when a person is arrested, except the person was arrested in the commission of that offense, the police officer has a duty to do what? To inform, or the arresting officer has a duty to inform the suspect, or the person being arrested, or why he's being arrested. But here in Nigeria, I don't know, it is different thing. You just come and they will hold you your trial, you're under arrest, and they are dragging you to go with them. And when they say, when you get to the station, you know, appropriately, they're supposed to inform you at the point of arrest. Oh, yes, Augusta, good morning. You're from so and so. After identifying yourself as so and so person, you're under arrest. You've been accused of stealing this, or you're wanted for the commission of the offense, as a suspect in the commission of this particular offense, or so. So they ordinarily have to inform. Yes, but it's always different in Nigeria. Before you talk, if you don't chop 2 slaps or several slaps already. So it's provided for in the Administration of Criminal Justice. So like I said, check part 1. The respective sections provide for arrest. Now, in regards to arrest, there are instances where law enforcement and the police have the powers to break in. Now, when you're breaking in, it means that there's no consent to enter the house. Now, there are instances when the law enforcement or police can break into a property in the case of arrests. Now, where a person for which an arrest warrant has been issued is hiding in a particular place, law enforcement can break into that property to arrest the person. However, before they do that, first of all, they must identify themselves. Oh, we are from the state CID. We want to arrest so and so person. We have a warrant. This is our warrant, and we are reasonably believe that he's here. Please, we want to take him. Now, appropriately, the person with the owner of that particular premises or building, upon that disclosure and that identification, is supposed to allow them in. When a person refuses to allow the police officers or the law enforcement agencies in, then they can break in. They can break in. Look at the provision of Section 7 and Section 8 of the Administration of Criminal Justice of Lagos State. Now, the law especially provides for that. That's why this ACJL, which refer to them as the procedural laws, they stipulate how things will be done. Now, the law enforcement can break in. They can enter without consent. Because like I said, breaking in, when you're breaking in, you're entering without consent. The person has not given you consent, so you're entering by force. So they can enter the property or the premises or the house without consent. That's in the case where a person who's suspected of committing an offense or for which an arrest warrant has been issued is suspected to be hiding in a particular place. Now, also in the case where they are trying to, in pursuit of a suspect, he gets into a particular place. Once the person runs to that person and they identify themselves, and yes, the owners or the occupiers of the building are restricting the officers getting access, they can break in to arrest the person. This is covered by the law. They won't just come and break in without proper identification. How do I know you're not thieves or armed robbers? We get it. Now, in the case of search, this is for arrest. Like I said, in the furtherance of their several responsibility, protection of life and property, prevention of crime, security of lives, the police law enforcement have the powers to arrest and to search. However, this must be done in conformity and in uniformity and in accordance with the established procedural laws. When it comes to search, the various Administration of Criminal Justice law make provision. Like I said, I'm referring to Lagos State now. Lagos State, the Administration of Criminal Justice law of Lagos State makes provisions for search. If you check the provisions of particularly Part 11, yes, Part 11 of the Administration of Criminal Justice law of Lagos State, if you check the provision of the ACJL, it makes provision for search. Now, appropriately, are you aware that law enforcement cannot just come into a search premises or a vessel or a location just like that without a search warrant? Appropriately, before they conduct search, there ought to be a search warrant. However, there are exceptions. There are exceptions now in law, most times, once there's a principle established, they're usually established. They say there are exceptions to the general rule. Once there's a general rule established or a general principle established, sometimes there are exceptions. So in the case of search warrant, in all appropriately and ideally, you cannot search a premises. No law enforcement officer can just walk into a premises, search a premises without a search warrant. However, there are exceptions. Now, the idea of the search warrant is the search warrant will specify the particular place they are searching. It's like, oh, number this is being searched. Now it's issued under the hand of a magistrate. Now they said, okay, it is empowering the law enforcement agency to come and search number 2 at Deleke Close, Ikotu, Lagos. Now it will authorize a particular set of officer or a particular police officer to do that. Now this is to prevent arbitrariness of the arbitrary execution of power by law enforcement agencies. So that you don't just come up one day and say, oh, I want to search your premises. So appropriately, you're supposed to be a search warrant before you search a person's house, before law police come to search a property. Yes, and when they do, first thing they do is they have to identify themselves. Now, before they execute a search warrant, the police officers have to identify themselves properly. Now they come to a premises, oh, we're so and so from the Alagbon police station, want to do this, want to do that, want to do that, oh, this is our search warrant. They are properly identified. And now, most times it is practical. Ideally, where police officers or law enforcement are coming to search a particular premises or a person, or premises particularly, they're supposed to present themselves, first of all, for them to be scrutinized and searched. So you have a situation where law enforcement is bringing in extraneous materials or property or items into the premises. So you don't say, oh, we found this here, whereas it wasn't there. So ideally, appropriately, law enforcement is supposed to present themselves for a search. So that, oh, okay, we're coming to search it. Oh, this is us, we don't have this, is what we have with us here, we have this. So you don't have a situation where someone is bringing in something that was not there before. So ideally, for you to execute a search warrant, for law enforcement to search a house, ideally, there's supposed to be there's supposed to be a search warrant issued under the hands of a magistrate, authorizing that particular search with the proper description of the location where it's to search, and the police officer authorized to do that. Now, when there's a search warrant, they come in, they search, they identify themselves. Now, in the event where they wish to search, where there has been a search warrant issued, and the particular occupier or owner of the building restricts or prevents the search from going on, then the law enforcement officers can do what? Can break in for the purpose of executing the warrant, the search warrant. Or when there's a reasonable suspicion that a crime is ongoing in a particular place, or there are concealment of stolen goods in a particular place in furtherance of a crime, or there's something going on, something abnormal going on. When there's a crime going on in a particular place, law enforcement can break in.
No, there are instances where there's no search warrant issued, but they can still break into a property. Now, a situation where where they have reasonable suspicion that a crime is being committed, is about to be committed in a particular place, and they don't have enough time to go and obtain a search warrant. For the immediate prevention of that crime, they first
identify themselves. And upon identification of self, if the owners or occupiers of the building prevent them from coming into the premises or still restrict them from coming, at that point, in a bid to preventing the commission of that crime, or to stopping it, or to apprehend the culprit committing that crime, they can do what? They can break into that premises to immediately quell the commission of that offense. So this is instances where there is no search warrant issue. Now, in the case of Skales, if indeed the police, the officers of the EFCC actually came into the premises, according to them, for routine search, routine checkup, without any such search warrant or without any proper identification, then there's a problem. As young Skales can seek redress in court for either one, breach of fundamental rights or trespass, because no law enforcement agency can just walk into a particular place and break into a particular place without proper identification. How do I know that you are law enforcement agents? How do I know you're officers of the law? So if indeed those were men of the EFCC and they came into the property, they broke the back door without proper identification, without drawing attention to themselves. And besides, there's what I want to say, for even a search warrant, for you to execute a search warrant, Under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law, a search warrant can only be executed within the time of 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Like from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Except when a magistrate has extended to any other hours other than this time, then you can execute a search warrant. But the first question is, was there a search warrant when the supposed men of the EFCC broke into Skales' house? If there's no search warrant, was there any crime being committed immediately at that particular time when they wanted to quell? If there was no crime, was there any compelling reason for them to have broken into the house? If there are no reasons, then what was the basis for breaking into the house at that particular time so early or so late? Broken and you say you're doing routine search. Under what authority? Under what warrant? Under what power? Yes, the powers of law enforcement are indeed provided under the laws and statutory. However, they have a duty and responsibility to ensure that those rights, those powers, those privileges are executed and carried out and enjoyed in accordance with all the relevant laws, which called together ensure the easy and effective administration of criminal justice in Lagos, in every other part of the state, and in Nigeria at large. I hope the EFCC soon will also release a statement for us to know whether indeed it authorized its men to do that, and if it authorized it, on what authority it was done. My name remains Aro John Obizoba Eke, and this is Law to Win. Don't forget to like, share, comment. We'll hit you with another episode that you would love and continue to learn. Don't forget, Law to Win is about you learning and picking up things you need to know about the Nigerian legal system and other concerned jurisdictions. Ciao.